Hello, welcome to the Manic Pixie Dream Vlog. I'm your host, Caroline Georges, and welcome. I wanted to talk about control. The ways I've experienced it, the ways I've felt like I don't have it. First of all, somebody once told me, Caroline, you're out of control. And I said, sir, we are on a spinning rock, floating through outer space, in a vast universe with aliens, you know? Are you in control? Are you in control? Who's in control? Who's really in control? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Parents of newborn babies wake up finding their baby died in its sleep, you know? Who's in control? Who's really in control? You know, the people who we view as having control, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. We know this. You know what I mean? This is what baffles me. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. He was murdered. He was murdered by powerful people. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence to suggest Hillary Clinton that can implicate Hillary Clinton in killing a lot of innocent people who had shit to say about her, who probably had a world of shit to say about her. Who's really in control? We're being recorded by our government. Our government is listening to our conversations. They're listening to us while we're having sex. They're listening to us while we masturbate. They're listening to us while we have a fight. They're listening to us while we have our darkest, our darkest moments that we should be experiencing in private. That we have a right to experience in private. And it can't be good. It's very nefarious. What is it going to do? What is that going to do? What are they doing? We know that they're recording us. And it's not for no reason. It's not for no reason. There's a reason. And you know what's worse? Our taxpayers, our tax dollars are paying for it. I'm a stripper. I'm a fucking stripper. No. You know what? We're all fucking strippers. We're all being treated like whores. By our own fucking government. You have control. You have control over your life. Do you? Do you? No, you don't. You know, and when we know that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, where are the riots? Where is the riots? Where's the march? When are we storming the White House? When are we going? When are we going? What day is that on? I thought it would have been the day after we found out he was murdered. When are we going to storm the White House? You know? When is that going to happen? Who has control? Who really has control? I experienced some semblance of control with controlling men when I could at the club, but still, I always got it way worse. I got it way worse than those men. I always got it way worse than those men. Do you think I had control? Where I had to go on stage and get naked in front of men who weren't giving me any money, showing them my body for free. Otherwise, I'd be sent home. Otherwise, I'd get fired. You think I had control? You think I had control there? I've talked about this before, but if you haven't been raped, then you don't know what it's like to lose control. You don't really know what it's like to lose control. Total control. You know, and feminism is all about women say who, women say where, women say what, women say what they want to do when it comes to sex. And you know what? That's not how it has been for me. That's not been my experience. I got a comment, a really disturbing comment from a subscriber, from a guy who subscribes to my channel. And he said that he said that I deserved what I got. He just says that when I was in the VIP and I was being held down and some guy was putting his fingers inside of me while I was screaming for help that didn't come in time, that I got what I deserved. I got what I had coming to me. I don't have control over that man's thinking. I don't, and that's just one man. How many men think that way? How many men? How many men think that way about me? Do you? Do you think that way about me? I hope I get to ask you face to face one day. I hope I get to meet you one day. That I can ask you that. Do you think that way about me? That I deserved what I got? Do you really feel that way? Nobody has control. We can feel like we have control, but we don't have control. We don't. Too many of us are born and our lives are decided for us from birth of what we're going to be, how we're going to live, where we're going to go, and what we're going to do. Some people are strong enough to fight back. Some of us are strong enough to rise above, but not all of us. Not all of us. Most of us are not. You know, this girl really hurt me. She's a comedian. And a lot of her jokes are about how she's a trust fund kid and how she was raised in wealth and privilege. And she wanted for nothing. And this girl got on stage, got in my face, leaned over the stage into my face and said, "What are you, a stripper?" Yes, yeah, that's a lot of my comedy is about stripping. A lot of my comedy are stripper jokes. A lot of my best jokes are about strippers, are about jokes about strippers, and about jokes about myself. I was raped for my gimmick. I was raped in the VIP for my gimmick. And I can tell a joke. I can take control over that situation by telling a joke about it. But I can't control people. I can't control people's ability to laugh or not laugh. I just have to write a really good joke and just try my damnedest to be funny. So I can be seen, so I can be heard, so these women can be seen, so these women can be finally heard. Because they're not in the comedy scene. So many of the jokes I've heard women tell about strippers is that it's like the very idea is like, oh, I guess I'll become a stripper then. Everyone thinks I'm dumb. I mean, they think I'm a stripper, but no, I'm not. You know, that kind of thing. You know, and once a comic, you know, there was like this. The stage was at they were doing this performance at a strip club, and this girl came out dressed like a stripper, a girl that never needed to strip, a girl that never needed money, a girl that never needed to strip. You know, in that movie Hustlers, if you've seen it, and go see it, please go see it. It's great. It really is great, and it's very true. It's a very true story. You have no idea. You really have no idea. The temptations those women faced and succumbed to are the very same that I did. And no one can blame me for not being strong enough to be a better person than I was when working in that environment where I was being exploited and abused by managers, by by bouncers, by other women. And this girl got on stage and she dressed like a stripper and she did stripper jokes when she never needed to be a stripper. And the joke was the very idea of her being a stripper was what was funny. Just the very idea of her being a stripper. Isn't that hilarious? Isn't that the very idea of that hilarious? Look, if I was really offended, this is what I would do. I would close my mouth and I would get up and walk out and go home and say nothing and let everybody else enjoy the show. That's what I would do. If I was really offended by a joke, if I was really affected by a joke, if the joke really was bothering me, that's what I would do. And that's fine. That's proper behavior. That's proper etiquette when you're going to a comedy club, when you're going to a comedy show. You get your ass up and you just go home. That's what you do. You don't interrupt the show. You don't interrupt the comic. But at the same time, I really do appreciate comedy that punches up. I really do appreciate comedy that's self-deprecating. I really do appreciate comedy that doesn't attack the lowly and the poor and the unfortunate. I really like that. I volunteer as a mentor. So this is a little thing about me that I do, and I wasn't going to talk about it because I want to go to heaven, and God says that if you want to go to heaven, don't talk about the good shit you do, because that's your reward in heaven. Your reward is heaven. Your reward is going to heaven. So do nice things and keep your mouth shut about it. Let that be between you and God. And this autistic man that I volunteer with, and it's not even volunteering. He is my friend. He is my friend. He is my very good friend. And I relate to him a lot. And he and I could talk about things a lot. He and I have a lot to talk about. Even though he has the mind of a 7-year-old, he and I have a lot to talk about. He and I really understand each other. He'll just text me all day, telling me like, I hate my autism. Nobody understands me. Everyone's judging me. And it's just, he's all alone. He's all fucking alone. That poor thing, that poor boy, that poor man. He's all alone in the world with the mind of a 7-year-old, having to live an adult life. What control does he have? And, but you know what's sad? I would never in a million years take him to a comedy club. He asks me all the time, because he knows I do comedy. He asks me all the time to go with me to a comedy club, and I'm just, no. I will not do it. I will not take him to a comedy club. Because I know the minute that man hears the word retard, he'd get upset. And he will hear the word retard. So I'll never take him to a comedy club. And and I wish that, the thing is, like, is comedy for poor people? Is comedy written for poor people? I mean, because really, are poor people buying, $40, $50, $75 tickets to go see a big comedian? Tickets to those shows are expensive. Are poor people really going to those shows? No. I mean, I think comedy is written for, like, upper middle class people. Middle class, upper middle class, and wealthy. That's who comedy is written for. But being out of control, or being somebody that people can look at me and be like, man, that bitch is out of her fucking mind. That bitch is out of fucking control. I mean, being that girl, being that woman who people can look at and say that about. You know what? I chew my nails. I have anxiety. It's been bad. I just, sometimes I'm good and I'm able to grow them out. But anyways, if you think I'm out of control, that's what I have to say to you. I'm doing my fucking best. We're all out of control. None of us have control over what happens in our lives. It doesn't matter who you are. Bad shit can still happen to you. And a lot of bad shit has happened to me. I know what it's like to be out of control. I know what it's like to have people force control out of my hands. Control over my own fucking body. That's being out of control. That's being out of fucking control. "9/11 was an inside job. I'm out of control." Thousands of people went to work one morning and were killed by their own fucking government. I'm out of control. Have a nice day at work tomorrow. You know what I mean? Have a good time at Disneyland. They get bomb threats every day. Good luck. Well, anyways, I'm sorry I gave you the middle finger. But I'm out of control, so what am I going to do? You know, like, I don't know. Has leaving stripping giving me control back over some things? I mean, yeah. I don't have to dance naked for free in front of people anymore. And that happens a lot. Guys will come in, women will come in, sit at the stage, not put a dime down, and watch you strip naked for them. Women will do that to other women because the other women are strippers and they're not. You know, my friend Peaches at the club, she got fired because she stood up for herself. These bitches came in and they were really rowdy and they were sitting at the stage and they weren't tipping shit. And then you know what Peaches did? She got on stage, stood right in front of them, and she was like, "How are we supposed to pay for our Starbucks?" And the women laughed and tipped her $5, but then one of the women was not having it and wrote a Yelp review where she was like, "This bitch was like complaining that we weren't tipping her when we didn't have any cash with us when we came in." And it's like, bitch, there's a fucking ATM. Women do not make other women their fucking slaves and make other women dance naked for them for free. That's not what real women do. That's not what feminists fucking do. If you're a feminist and you go into a strip club, you better come in with some good fucking cash with you. Or go to fucking hell. Sorry, Anyways, that's just how I feel. Sorry, it's just how I feel. But to be honest, I don't think feminists should go to strip clubs. Those women are being abused by their managers and by their management and are making it extremely hard for them to make money. And the things these women have to resort to make money in the club is not of feminism. Is not acceptable to feminism. I want to change the world, and I want to change the world for women, especially sex workers, especially poor women, especially strippers. Especially women who are trafficked, who are sold into slavery, almost willingly. It's amazing to me how women who are trafficked will stay with their traffickers. Stockholm Syndrome is very real. I've definitely experienced it in some of my relationships, in some of my connections. I've definitely experienced what feels like Stockholm Syndrome. Because that gives you control. When you're being abused by someone, when you're being violated by somebody, when you're being when somebody is just taking and taking and taking from you and not giving anything back, it helps to fall in love with them. It just helps. It just makes it hurt less to fall in love with them. Women fall in love with their traffickers all the time. Stockholm Syndrome is very real. It's a way of processing things. It's a way of understanding things. Anyways, that's my vlog for today. Like and subscribe, and support the Patreon, because I do have some really good guests lined up, some women that I would really like to talk to about these subjects, and they're very funny. Monterey Martinez is on the line to come on, and then so is Abby. So she was one of Louis C.K.'s accusers, and she has a lot to say about that situation that I got into in one of my past vlogs, and it's a chance to help Louis C.K. and I need $350 to make that happen. So, which I can't afford right now. So support the Patreon. Like and subscribe. Bye.